Morning, everyone. Very good to see you all. The meeting, as you know, is not being live streamed, but it is being recorded and will be published after the meeting. And if you could press the raise your hand button when you want to speak. Great, fine. Are there any apologies, Michelle?
We've had no apologies today.
Okay, thank you. Are there any declarations of personal interest? Can't see any hands up, so I'm assuming that's a no. The next item on the agenda, we're going through at a rate of knots here, and those are first of all, the minutes. And if we could look through those, page 1, 2, 3, and 4, that they are a true record. If somebody who was there last time could propose that. Any hands up? Ah, Peter, is it? There we are. Great. All okay with the minutes? And to note the letter as well that I sent off to Councillor Price. Okay. Which we're moving through, as I say, very fast here. The next item on the agenda is to outline an outline of the Partneriaeth Joint Committee agenda to be held on the 23rd of June, and that's going to be, I'm told, our lead director Helen and lead officer for Partneriaeth Ian. I don't know which one of you wants to go first. Helen.
Diolch Cadeirydd. Yn credu bod sleid gyda Ian I rannu gyda'r panel.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to find the slide, Helen, to share. Bear with me.
Tra bod Ian yn chwilio am y sleid, o ran cefndir, mae'r cydbwyllgor yn cwrdd 2 gwaith y flwyddyn gwybodaeth. Mae'r cyfarfod nesaf dydd Gwener hyn. Felly mae'r pwyllgor craffu hyn hefyd ar gylch o 2 gwaith y flwyddyn. Felly cyfarfodydd tymhorol sydd ar gyfer y cydbwyllgor. O ran yr agenda dydd Gwener, mae'r agenda gyda fi heddi, oherwydd mae wedi cael ei gyhoeddi erbyn hyn pnawn dydd Gwener diwetha, felly fi'n gweld bod Ian yn cael trafferth i gael y sleid i weithio. Oherwydd hynny, felly bod e'n werth i fi ddarllen beth yw'r prif eitemau ar agenda dydd Gwener. Felly mae'r cyfarfod diwetha o'r cydbwyllgor wedi digwydd ym mis Chwefror. Felly bydd ystyriaeth lawn o'r cofnodion a'r materion sy'n ymwneud â'r cofnodion hynny. Hefyd, fe fydd llythyr cadeirydd y Pwyllgor Scrutiny, sef Cynghorydd Jones, yn cael ei ystyried gan y Pwyllgor dydd Gwener. Un o'r prif eitemau fydd derbyn cyllid drafft ar gyfer y flwyddyn ariannol cyfredol. Hefyd, byddwn ni'n ystyried beth yw perfformiad partneriaeth mewn adroddiad blynyddol gan swyddogion partneriaeth. Yna fe fydd ystyriaeth lawn o'r cynllun busnes newydd ar gyfer y flwyddyn ariannol sydd ohoni, a hefyd ystyriaeth o'r cofrestr risg, a wedyn unrhyw faterion eraill yn unol â dymuniad y cadeirydd I dderbyn materion brys fel materion i'w ystyried. Felly dyna'r agenda ar gyfer dydd Gwener sy'n dod. Os oes unrhyw gwestiynau hapus I ateb.
Great. Are there any questions from anyone? about the agenda? No, great, fine. Well, thank you very much, Helen. And I think the slides are in the ether somewhere, but thank you very much for coming in there. The next item on the agenda is to hear from the chair of the joint committee. So really welcome Councillor Darren Price, who is the is the chair of the joint committee. So Darren, would you like to give an overview?
Diolch yn fawr cadeirydd, a diolch am y croeso. Mae'n braf cael bod nôl yn eich bydd chi. Wrth gwrs, fel rhywun oedd yn aelod rwd o'r corff yma am 5 mlynedd dan erw, mae'n braf cael bod yma y bore yma. Gwahanol iawn wrth gwrs yw gorfod ateb cwestiynau, edrych a gofyn cwestiynau, ond fi'n siŵr bydd popeth yn iawn nawr. Ond diolch yn fawr i chi am y croeso ac yn hapus i ddweud gair bach neu ddoi fel cyflwyniad. Fel mae aelodau yn ymwybodol, mae hanes consortia rhanbarthol wedi bod yn un gymleth ac anghyson ar draws Cymru. Ac wrth gwrs yn hanesyddol, mae'r cydweithio rhanbarthol yn rhywbeth y mae Llywodraeth Cymru wedi gofyn amdano fe. Yn wir, oedd y cyn-weinidog Kirsty Williams yn awyddus iawn i weld y cydweithio rhanbarthol yma yn digwydd. Fe gofiwch i'r drafodaethau dros y blynyddoedd diwethaf. Ond wrth gwrs erbyn hyn, mae Castell Nedd Port Talbot yn enghraifft yn cefnogi ysgolion eu hunain yn uniongyrchol, tu fas i gonsortio rhanbarthol. Yn wir, dyna oedd dechrau'r diwedd fel petai i'r hen consortia erw, yma yn y de orllewin. Ond felly bod aelodau yn ymwybodol bod Llywodraeth Cymru erbyn hyn wedi nodi bod nhw am adolygu yr heinen ganol, fel maen nhw'n galw ddim, hynny yw y gwasanaethau hynny sy'n cefnogi ysgolion ar draws Cymru, a bydd partneriaeth a phob consortio rhanbarthol arall yng Nghymru yn rhan o'r adolygiad hynny. Felly, gewn ni weld beth fydd yn dod mas o'r gwaith ni ymhen blwyddyn neu 2. Felly mae'r cyd-destun yn bwysig rwy'n credu ar lefel cenedlaethol. Ond o'n safbwynt ni yma yn y de orllewin, wrth gwrs, mae cynghorau Sir Benfro, Sir Gar ac Abertawe fel rhan o partneriaeth nawr dath mewn i fodolaeth wrth gwrs ar ddechrau mis Ebrill 2022 yn weithredol, ac o'n safbwynt i fel cadeirydd y cydbwyllgor, rwy'n ffyddiog bod yna strwythurau clir a bod yna gynllun busnes clir gan partneriaeth mwyn trio cefnogi ein ysgolion ni. Y peth pwysig i nodi fi'n credu yw bod y cynllun busnes presennol gyda'r 6 blaenoriaeth i chi'n ymwybodol ohonyn nhw yn gynllun a gafodd i ddatblygu ar y cyd gan swyddogion ar draws ein siroedd ni. Felly mae'n seiliedig ar yr amcanion lleol yn ein siroedd ni, ac mae hwnna'n egwyddor sydd yn holl bwysig o'n safbwynt i. Fel ych chi'n gwybod, mae'r cynllun busnes wrth gwrs wedi gymrydwyo gan y cydbwyllgor, ac fel o'n i'n clywed just nawr gan Helen, bydd y cynllun busnes ar gyfer y flwyddyn nesaf yn dod ger bron y cydbwyllgor diwedd wythnos yma. Yn ogystal â'r cynllun busnes wrth gwrs ar gyfer y flwyddyn nesaf, byddwn ni hefyd yn cytuno ar y gyllideb ar gyfer y flwyddyn 2023-2024. Mae'r risgau wrth gwrs sydd yn gwynebu'r corff yn cael eu hadrodd yn rheolaidd i'r cydbwyllgor, ac wrth gwrs ydych chi fel grŵp craffu hefyd yn cadw llygad ar berfformiad y corff. Felly, i ateb y cwestiwn gwreiddiol sydd o'n blaen ni y bore yma, ydw, rwy'n ffyddiog bod partneriaeth yn gweithredu'n unol ar gytundeb gyfreithiol a'i gynllun busnes, a bod yr amserlen yn cael ei rheoli mewn modd effeithiol. Ond mae wastod lle i wella. A beth lics i ni weld dros y blwyddyn nesaf yw bod partneriaeth yn datblygu fwy falle, yn hermed dangos yn glir yr effaith y mae unrhyw fewnbwn yn cael. Ac yn wir, mae hyn yn rhywbeth mae Estyn wedi nodi yn ei ymweliadau a'r corff dros y misoedd diwethaf. Mae rhaid dangos allbwn yn amlwg, a mae rhaid dangos gwerth am arian. Yn ail, rwy'n credu bod hi'n bwysig iawn bod ysgolion, penaethiaid ac athrawon hefyd yn cael cyfle i ddatgan barn ar pa mor effeithiol maen nhw'n gweld partneriaeth. Dyna ar diwedd y dydd yw'r peth mwyaf pwysig. Mae rhaid bod unrhyw system yn gweithio ar gyfer yr ysgolion, a felly rwy'n falch i glywed fod yna arolwg neu perception survey yn mynd mas i bob ysgol y tymor yma. a fydd hwnna'n rhoi cyfle i athrawon, i benaethiaid ac unrhyw un arall sy'n â barn ar effeithlonrwydd y partneriaeth i ddweud hynny yn glir dros y misoedd nesaf. Ac wrth gwrs, y gobeith fydd, dim y gobeith fydd, beth fydd yn digwydd yw byddwn ni'n gwrando ar yr hyn sydd yn dod nôl o'r ysgolion. Mae'n amlwg bod rhaid i ni i wneud ni, mae rhaid bod unrhyw gynllun busnes yn adlewyrchu yr effaith ar lawr gwlad, a'r profiad ar lawr gwlad. Ac felly dyna yn fras gadeirydd yw fel rwy'n gweld pethau ar hyn o bryd. Dyna cwpl o eiriau fel rhyw fath o gyflwyniad, ond rwy'n hapus iawn i ateb yn rhyw gwestiynau penodol sydd gan aelodau y bore yma. Diolch yn fawr i chi.
Great, thank you very much for that. Are there any questions to Darren? Yes, Councillor Hugh Murphy.
Diolch, jyst un cwestiwn byr. I ni'n trafod i partneriaeth fan hyn, ond dyna'r cwestiwn fysa fi ofyn fel cynghorwr sy'n gogledd eisiau memro, yw a gath Ceredigion y siawns sydd yn mewn fel partneriaeth a maen nhw wedi penderfynu peidio dod mewn, neu wedd y cynnig yma ar gael. Just, mae mwy o tir cyffredin gyda ni lawr yn gogledd eisiau memro, gyda Sir Aberteifi a gyda Sir Abertawe gyda pob parch. So just gofyn y cwestiwn y gyd. Diolch.
Ie, i fod yn deg, oedd fe ddath partneriaeth mewn i bodolaeth cyn yn amser i fel arweinydd, felly falle byddai'n well bod Ian neu Helen falle yn ateb y cwestiwn yna. Ond yn sicr, byddwch chi'n ymwybodol o'r heriau oedd yn gwynebu erw dros y blynyddoedd diwethaf. Ond na i ofyn i Helen falle jyst i ymhelaethu ar beth ddigwyddodd a pa trafodaethau oedd yna wrth i ni ddatblygu partneriaeth yn y lle cyntaf. Diolch.
Diolch i chi, thank you.
Helen.
Diolch yn fawr. Felly dewis Ceredigion oedd y model cyn i partneriaeth ddod i fodolaeth fel petai. Felly wnaethon nhw ddewis uniongyrchol really, i adael erw a doedd dim awch na awydd i ymuno â partneriaeth fel endid.
Ie, diolch am y bir o hynna i fi. Diolch yn fawr iawn i chi.
Right. Any other questions? No. Can I say from my perspective, and Darren, you will know, because as you rightly said, we were on the scrutiny panel for ERU. Partneriaeth is a totally different animal and is viewed very positively by a lot of teachers that I've certainly spoken to across Swansea. You know, the work that they are doing and working with schools, and I think that's a real sea change in what's been going on. So that is great news. As part of this report, I'd like to call in the Directors of Education from Swansea, Pembrokeshire and Carmarthen. And can I kick off with Swansea, Helen?
Diolch Cadeirydd. Felly mae'n ddiddorol i nodi rhai o'r heriau tebyg sydd gyda fi i gymharu da'r cynghorydd Price. Felly cyn dod i'r cyfarfod heddi, nes i baratoi rhyw 5 pwynt bwled i ystyried beth yw'r heriau sy'n wynebu ni o fewn y partneriaeth. Felly mae ariannu ar dop y rhestr, fel y byddwch chi'n dychmygu, a sut i wneud y defnydd gorau o'r arian sy'n dod i'r consortiwm o'r enw partneriaeth. Felly mae hwnna yn gwestiwn teg i ofyn. Fel rhan o trafodaethau mysg y cyfarwyddwyr, ni wedi cael trafodaethau eitha eiddfed i ystyried y ffordd orau really, o rhannu adnoddau mewn modd sy'n sicrhau bod dim tanwariant yn y dyfodol. Felly mae hwnna'n ystyriaeth bwysig i ni fel cyfarwyddwyr mewn cydberthynas a'r prif swyddog yn partneriaeth. Yr ail bwynt wedyn ni yw gwerthuso perfformiad i sicrhau, fel ddwedodd cynghorydd Price, bod yna effaith yn cael ei nodi ar allbynnau hynny yn hermau beth yw'r defnydd gorau really o'r cynnig o ran dysgu proffesiynol, bod ni'n ystyried yn glir beth yw'r effaith. Trydydd pwynt wedyn ni yw bod yn anodd i dynnu pawb at ei gilydd mewn cyfnod ble ni'n gweithredu ar Teams neu ar Zoom. Efallai bod yna gyfle yn y dyfodol agos i sicrhau bod prif athrawon ar draws y siroedd yn dod at ei gilydd fel bod ymdeimlad bod nhw'n perthyn i'r un rhanbarth. Felly mae hwnna'n ystyriaeth ar gyfer y dyfodol, ond fi'n derbyn bod heriau i wneud hynny hefyd mewn ffordd sy'n effeithlon. Y pedwerydd pwynt yw llythrennedd y rhifedd, efallai bod angen i bartneriaeth i ystyried pecyn cynhwysiol cyflawn ar gyfer darparu i wella sgiliau llythrennedd y rhifedd. Ni'n gweld yn enwedig yn ysgolion cynradd ar ddechrau sector uwchradd bod na angen i sicrhau'r maes hynny. A'r pumed pwynt yw barn y cwsmer. Fel ddwedodd y cynghorydd Price, mae'n angen i ni ystyried barn mewn modd cydlynnus a bod ni'n gallu cynllunio ar sail barn pobl ar gyfer y dyfodol. Felly yna'r heriau, ond o ran bod ni'n gweithredu'n unol ar cytundeb cyfreithiol, mae'n glir bod na ystyriaeth lawn wedi cael ei roi o gynnwys y cytundeb. Felly o safbwynt Abertawe, ni'n gweld bod pethau'n gweithredu yn unol ar cytundeb hynny. Yn sicr, mae yna gyfarfodydd sy'n cael ei nodi a bod yr amserlen ar gyfer y cyfarfodydd ar sawl heinen yn digwydd yn unol ar cytundeb. Hefyd, ni'n hapus iawn i weld, welon ni fel cyfarwyddwyr yn ddiweddar y cynllun busnes newydd fel drafft ohoni cyn bod e'n mynd i'r cydbwyllgor. Ni'n bles iawn i weld bod y cynllun yn glir. Mae yna llai o flaenoriaethau ar gyfer y flwyddyn gyfredol i gymharu ar hen gynllun busnes. Felly ni'n gweld bod hwnnw'n briodol a bod ni'n gallu gweld bod y cydblethu sy'n digwydd rhwng yr awdurdodau lleol a'r prif swyddogion sy'n ymwneud â gwelliant addysg ar draws y tair sir, bod nhw'n cael cyfle i fwydo mewn i'r cynllun busnes. Mae hwnnw'n hanfodol. Felly ar y cyfan, i ni'n hapus i weld bod partneriaeth yn datblygu a bod y potensial yna i wneud yn well hefyd. A ni'n hapus iawn bod yr endid fel partneriaeth yn gwrando ar llais rhanddeiliad. Nid yn unig y cyfarwyddwyr, ond y prif athrawon mewn cyfarfodydd cydlynnus o'r rhanddeiliad. Diolch yn fawr.
Great. Thank you very much, Helen, for that comprehensive report. Next is Pembrokeshire. That's Stephen, and thank you very much for joining us from your holiday. He's actually on holiday this week, so I didn't know he had any holidays, but there you go. And so thank you very much for taking time out.
Diolch, Lyndon. It is just a day, not a week, so I'll be back to it tomorrow. But thank you for the opportunity this morning to talk about our views of the legal agreement and the work of Partneriaeth. So for Pembrokeshire, you won't be surprised that many of the issues are the same as those raised by Councillor Darren Price and by Helen in Swansea. The way in which we have spoken about these things in Pembrokeshire is that we are reasonably content with the way in which things have developed over the course of the last year. And the range of support that the Partneriaeth Consortium is offering, particularly in Pembrokeshire, has been useful. But we believe that there is a need to further refine that offer for 23 and 24 to ensure our continued collaboration and co-construction directly with our schools. Helen referenced the need maybe to look at literacy and numeracy. Those are two key areas for us, and also we are starting to see in inspection reports a developing number of schools who are getting independence as a theme, and also sometimes evaluation of their own work in relation to inspection. So we believe those things will be important as we move forward through the course of the next year, and believe they should be weaved into our current business plan. We also believe that we have a number of financial risks that we need to manage, and that is around making sure that the money is well spent in the best interest of schools, and that we continue to work to resolve some of the issues possibly that we have around duplication of resources. And this may be in Pembrokeshire due to the fact that Pembrokeshire has been a local authority causing significant concern. And, you know, we need to look at ways in which we stop duplicating resource, particularly in terms of around improving teaching and improving leadership. We also believe that over the course of the year we will be able to support improving the professional learning offer, because that will be the key mechanism by which we support schools in improving, particularly in relation to the new curriculum, and as secondary schools come on to the new curriculum framework from this September. We also believe in Pembrokeshire that we have a risk around the range of initiatives that are on offer. Now, some of this is not due directly to Partneriaeth. Some of it is also due to the fact that there seems to be a relentless push from the Welsh Government at the moment in relation to initiatives. And given the position I think that we're all in, working with school leaders and unions at the moment, we need to think carefully about the range of initiatives that are on offer to our schools, because otherwise we will continue to have the workload issues which are being raised by unions all the time with us at the moment. So, you know, I think this is something for us all to think about in terms of how we manage what comes over the horizon from Welsh Government during the most significant period of education reform in the last 40 years. And therefore, you know, as an organisation and a joint committee, I think you know, we would have a role to play there in making sure that schools are not overloaded. From my point of view, I believe that the joint agreement is working well. And I also believe that Partneriaeth is doing the right things for schools, and many of our schools tell us that. What we need to see now is that effect and impact that that's having directly in classrooms. So that's everything from me. Thank you very much. Diolch yn fawr.
Great, thank you very much. Now, Carmarthen, it was going to be Gareth Morgan's, but I believe Gareth is unable to be with us because you've got an Estyn review taking place, or an Estyn visit. So I don't know who's on from Carmarthen.
Well, as I lead the council, Chair, I won't reiterate what I said previously. I think a lot of the themes have been touched on by Stephen and Helen there. I think there's a view emerging across the region in terms of what the challenges are and where potential refinement is needed. But certainly I highlighted my view as chair of the joint committee at the outset, and those views reflect my position as leader of Carmarthenshire as well. Diolch.
Okay, great, fine, thank you. Questions? I can see Councillor Peter Black has got his hand up. Peter.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just a couple of things. First of all, post-COVID, what is the impact on attendance? Is that still causing issues following COVID? I know the schools I'm a school governor of, we still have some residual problems in trying to get all the kids back into school. And secondly, the additional learning needs agenda, what's the impact on the local authorities and the schools of trying to bring that in as well? Thank you, particularly in terms of finance, I think.
Okay, great, fine, thank you. And I've got Helen has got her hand up. I don't know if to answer that question or.
Ie, diolch. I ddechrau gyda presenoldeb mewn ysgolion, mater yw hynny ar gyfer yr awdurdodau lleol i ymdrin ag felly does dim ymwneud uniongyrchol gyda partneriaeth ar y mater o presenoldeb mewn ysgolion, ond wrth gwrs mae yna ddarpariaeth ar gyfer lles oddi wrth partneriaeth hefyd, a mae hwnnw'n ddefnyddiol rili i hyfforddi athrawon am yr ystyriaethau am pam ysgolion a plant yn dioddau a pam maen nhw yn ddisgyblion bregus. Ond y prif nod gyda presenoldeb yw bod awdurdodau lleol yn ymwneud â ystyriaethau i wella herio a chefnogi presenoldeb gwell yn yr ysgolion. Mae'n wir i ddweud ar draws Cymru, nid yn unig yn rhanbarth ni neu yn ein hawdurdodau ni, bod na gonsern enfawr am bresenoldeb mewn ysgolion yn dilyn y pandemig. Mae hwnna yn un o'r prif ystyriaethau i ni yn Abertawe yn sicr, a byddwn ni'n yn barnu bod hwnna yn wir i bob awdurdod o fewn partneriaeth. O ran datblygu anghenion dysgu ychwanegol mewn ysgolion, eto mae hwnnw'n fater ar gyfer yr awdurdodau hunain yn hytrach na partneriaeth. Does dim rôl na remit pwrpasol gyda partneriaeth, gyda anghenion dysgu ychwanegol, ond mae yna beth gwaith sy'n digwydd yn partneriaeth sy'n cefnogi y gwaith yn uniongyrchol o ran addysg arbennig. Ond yn sicr ar lefel awdurdodau lleol, mae yna waith yn digwydd yn mynd rhagddi ar hyn o bryd i sicrhau bod ni'n trawsnewid yn unol ar deddfwriaeth i sicrhau bod amcanion deddfwriaethau rili o ran anghenion dysgu ychwanegol yn cael i ystyried yn llawn fel bod pob awdurdod yn sicrhau gwell darpariaeth ar gyfer i plant nhw. Felly nid mater i partneriaeth yw'r ddau beth na, ond yn sicr maen nhw'n bryderon enfawr a mae yna orgyffwrdd rhwng gwaith partneriaeth ond dim yn uniongyrchol.
Okay, Peter, do you want to come back? Or you...
No, that's fine. I understand that. I understand that Partneriaeth is a more overview, provides training and support and that's the thing. But obviously, all these things have an impact on the work of Partneriaeth, as Helen said. So I think it was important that it was mentioned as as part of this overview.
Yeah, great. Any other questions? Great. If I could make one point is on the question of attendance, it is important, and the Education Scrutiny Panel in Swansea will be considering that at our next meeting because it is vitally important, and it obviously is something that we all want to see addressed. So with that, if there aren't any other questions, can I thank Darren and for his input and as chair of the joint committee, and as well as Richard and Stephen and Helen as well. So thank you very much indeed. And the next item on the agenda is the updated risk profile, and I believe that's Ian. It's the Ian and Helen show. I don't know who's coming on first.
Diolch, Chair. I think it's me to take you through this this item, and thanks for the feedback. It's interesting there. The impact and evaluation piece for us is really important moving forward to make sure that we are able to capture at the right time the impact of the professional learning. And I think Stephen's point around there's a raft of different agendas coming forward. I think it's up to us to prioritise appropriately for our schools and make sure they're getting the right diet offered to them and they're taking up that high quality co-constructed offer. Sorry, just an observation. I'll move on to the item now, which is the risk profile. Obviously, this is a standing agenda item for scrutiny and for joint committee, and this risk profile is based on our 22-23 business plan, obviously, and it's kind of the final review of that risk profile. And obviously the business plan will be slightly different, hopefully once it's gone through joint committee on Friday, and a risk profile will reflect the priorities of the business plan moving forward, although there won't be a significant shift in many of them. On page 20 of the the pack, the medium probability risks have been outlined, and I've talked you through these previously, and the timing of Welsh Government funding has been raised previously, I know, in this committee, as well as other fora as well, in terms of the risk associated with the organisation essentially being grant funded, and it does provide a risk when that money doesn't arrive in a timely fashion, and obviously that commitment to a medium-term funding from Welsh Government is helpful in that term, but the timely arrival of it continues to be a medium risk, as does the clarity of the function of Partneriaeth. I think it is clearer, and it is getting clearer, but obviously when we do our stakeholder survey, that will be a bit of a test of the water, really, to see how clear it is in terms of what we're providing for our schools and our partners. The other one previously that was a medium probability risk was the risk of Partneriaeth failing to support LA's engagements with Estyn. That's been removed as a medium risk for the time being, because within this business plan cycle, both Pembrokeshire and Swansea have had their Estyn visits, this time last year for Swansea, and obviously Pembrokeshire had their visit and were removed from causing significant concern. And again, we would have partly supported some of that process, and Carmarthanshire's imminent inspection will obviously fall within the remit of the 23-24 business plan cycle. So page 21-22 then gives an overview of the movement from the last time that I would have presented this to our joint scrutiny, and there's no movement there really, with the exception of the one I've just outlined for you in terms of that support for Estyn, given the timing of the inspections. So that's where we are at the moment with the risk profile. As I said, the next time there'll be a new document for the 23-24 risk profile based on the business planning process, with the slightly reduced priorities for 23-24. Not reduced workload, but reduced priorities, and hopefully more aligned and clear in terms of what we're delivering for our schools and partners. Diolch.
Okay. Any questions to Ian? Yes, Peter. You're on silent.
Yeah, I apologise if this was raised last meeting. I forgot, because it's such a long time between meetings. This risk about Welsh Government funding, can we just be clear what funding we exactly get, when it's meant to be paid? Have we received it? And if not, is there actually an issue with the Welsh Government funding? Sorry, I apologise if I've raised this before.
Yeah, no problem at all. I think it's a good question. It comes in quarterly. I think the major issue we have is when the grant offer letter actually comes in, and we're part way into the financial year already at that point. And obviously the planning and some of the delivery has happened. It's rarely an issue that we don't get what we're expecting, but sometimes obviously we're doing the work and the planning with that expectation that it arrives in a timely fashion. And particularly due to, as I know Councillor Back we've discussed previously, the fact that we're funded by that grant stream, so obviously it's essential that it comes in and is therefore noted as a risk there. However, it does arrive. It's just sometimes not quite as early into April, shall we say, than we would ideally like to be able to use that planning. It doesn't slow down the work, but it means we're doing the work without some of the funding actually being with us at that point.
And how much is it, and each quarter?
Well, the overall quantum, if we include EIG, is around £26 million. However, £20 million of that is EIG, which goes obviously back out to local authorities anyway. Yeah. So it sort of comes in and obviously funds the various grant lines that are then in that grant offer. So
this money is money we tend to pass on, as opposed to money which is being used to run to hire people running Partneriaeth.
Yes, a little bit of both, actually. So some of the retained grant funding supports the regional team, if you like. So a fairly small team that is in-house, and around 90% of our grant funding then goes directly out to local authorities to pass on to schools to support those priorities.
Right, so if the funding is delayed, it's the impact on schools as well. So I get my ears bent by the head teacher when I go to school governing body then. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's one of the things when we
Yeah.
do stakeholder group, one of the key things on that agenda is not so much how, sometimes it's how much, but also, when is this money going to arrive? Because obviously schools
Yeah.
need to implement their planning and they need clarity around their grant funding as well. So I do understand the issue, and that they don't necessarily want to hear from us that it's a Welsh Government issue, because they need the funding to implement their plans as well.
Okay, and in terms of lack of clarity regarding functions of Partneriaeth, are we talking about stakeholders like schools, or are we talking about sort of semi-ignorant councillors like me who don't only tend to engage when we go to governing bodies and come to these meetings?
I'll let Helen come in there, I think.
Helen.
Ie, i raddau heleth, mae'r risg yn un hanesyddol iawn, oherwydd bod yn hanesyddol efallai bod erw ar sawl swyddogaeth, ond erbyn hyn mae swyddogaethau eglur iawn gyda partneriaeth, felly i ni'n gweld os oes 4 blaenoriaeth yn y cynllun busnes newydd, i ni'n sicr i ni'n gallu rhannu'r 4 blaenoriaeth mewn i 2 brif bwrpas, sef sicrhau bod cynnig neu darpariaeth ar gyfer dysgu proffesiynol sy'n ymwneud â chwricwlwm newydd i Gymru, a hefyd yr ail swyddogaeth yw sicrhau bod cyflenwad da gyda ni ar gyfer arweinyddiaeth yn y dyfodol. Felly mae rhaglenni ddatblygu arweinyddiaeth yn un peth, a wedyn mae'r cynnig o ddysgu proffesiynol yn ail beth. Felly mae'r swyddogaethau yna wedi egluro dros amser, yn enwedig yn y flwyddyn diwetha ers i partneriaeth ddod i fodolaeth, i ni'n gallu bod yn hollol glir o ran swyddogaethau partneriaeth i gymharu y fel oedd hi yn erw.
Lovely, thank you. Diolch yn
Okay.
fawr.
Any other questions? Great, thank you very much for that. The next item on the agenda, we decided at the last meeting that we would be looking at priorities and in depth, and this time we're looking at priority 2, developing a high quality education profession, improving the teaching and learning in our schools. And I think that's, I've got Gwennan and Ian actually on down. I don't know which one of you is going to speak first.
Diolch, Chair. If I just introduce Gwennan, and then
Yes,
I can allow her to summarise the report that's in the pack. So priority 2 is quite a complex priority at the moment, and I think moving forward, the new business plan probably brings a bit of clarity around that. The elements of teaching move up to be with curriculum, as you would expect, and there is a more sensible alignment, I think. But in terms of the 22-23 version, excuse me, it contains a number of different priorities that Gwennan has had oversight of, not delivered, but oversight of in terms of those specific areas. And with that's come a number of challenges that we faced, and a number of challenges we've overcome. And Gwennan will just give you an update on those areas and in terms of where we are and with some of those challenges as well that we faced, and how we've tried to mitigate those, and how we've tried to move that particular agenda forward, as well as some of those successes, clearly. So I'll hand over to Gwennan. Diolch.
great, thank you. Gwennan.
Wel, diolch yn fawr iawn i chi, diolch Ian. Ie, fel nath Ian sôn y fyna, mae blaenoriaeth 2 fel mae yn y cynllun busnes ar gyfer 2022-2023 yn cwmpasu ystod eang o feysydd gwaith. A'r hyn sydd ganddo ni mewn gwirionedd ydy ffrydiau gwaith unigol yn seiliedig ar chynulliau grant Llywodraeth Cymru a swyddogion yn arwain ar rheini. Wrth symud ymlaen yn y cynllun busnes newydd, be dyn ni wedi wneud ydy clymu'r elfennau hynny o'r gwaith i fewn gyda agweddau eraill o'r cynllun busnes. Mae'r cydweithio yna yn digwydd yn naturiol o fewn y tîm ac ar draws ffrydiau gwaith ganddo ni fewnol beth bynnag, ond a dibenion cynllunio ag adrodd yn gryfach wrth symud ymlaen, mae'r newid yna yn fformat y cynllun busnes yn mynd i'n helpu ni o ran y ffordd ni yn cyflawni'n gwaith, ond hefyd o ran y ffordd bydd pobl allanol yn edrych ar y gwaith ac yn gweld y cydblethu hynny rhwng yr elfennau gwahanol. Dydy'r meysydd gwaith sydd yn blaenoriaeth da i ddim yn feysydd dyle sefyll ar wahân. Maen nhw angen bod yn rhan o brif ffrwd y gwaith. Felly dwi jyst yn fer iawn, dwi ddim yn mynd i fynd trwy'r adroddiad mewn manylder, mae'r adroddiad yn y pecyn wrth gwrs. A be dwi'n bwriadu wneud ydy jyst tynnu allan cwpl o brif bethau o dan y penawdau unigol os ydy hynny'n iawn. Felly, os yna i ddechrau jyst trwy edrych ar dysgu proffesiynol, ymholi ag ymchwil, a yn werth nodi yn fren y nifer o ysgolion sydd ganddyn ni'n rhan o waith yr NPEP ar hyn o bryd. Mae'r niferoedd yn iachus iawn, ond dwi'n meddwl y nod o symud ymlaen ydy sicrhau bod y niferoedd hynny yn parhau yn y system, ond bod ni hefyd yn llwyddo i recriwtio mwy o ysgolion i fod yn rhan o'r gwaith. Yn ogystal â bod yn rhan o ddatblygu ymchwil i hynny, mae'r ysgolion sy'n rhan o'r NPEP hefyd yn elwa ar sesiynau dysgu proffesiynol gan y prifysgolion. Felly mae yna bethau gwahanol sy'n gallu cynnig cryfder i ysgolion wrth fod yn rhan o gynllun yr NPEP. Yn yr wythnosau nesaf, mae yna ddigwyddiad rhannu arfer dda yn cael ei gynnal, sydd gobeithio yn mynd rhan o'r ffordd a ddangos effaith y darn yma o waith. Ond yn amlwg rhan o'r broses o ddangos effaith ydy hwnna, a mae hwnna'n fater o rannu arfer dda ar sail yr hyn sy'n digwydd ar hyn o bryd, yr effaith tymor ber felly. I symud ymlaen gyfeirio yn fyr at yr SLO wedyn, ysgolion fel sefydliadau sy'n dysgu. Mi fydd yna rhywfaint o grafu pen o'r ansitorau i fynd i'r afel a'r agwedd yma'r gwaith gan dderbyn bod o'n rhywbeth pwysig wrth symud ymlaen ac yn gallu cynorthwyo ysgolion i gynllunio a gweithredu, ond ansicrwydd ynglyn â'r cyfeiriad. Felly, be wnaeth cydweithred i mi sy'n arwain ar y gwaith yma, di sefydlu gweithgor cynnwys 30 o ysgolion i fod yn cydweithio i ddatblygu cynllun ar sail rhaglen 5 rhan felly, yw addysgu i'w hunain yn y lle cyntaf, ond wedyn fel rhyw fodel train the trainer wedyn gyda'r nod o lansio gwefan yn y dyfodol agos sydd yn rhannu yr hyn maen nhw wedi dysgu, y cynlluniau maen nhw wedi rhoi mewn lle a'r egwyddorion hynny sydd yn galluogi ysgolion eraill wedyn i weithredu ar sail y model yr SLO. Mae yna hefyd gydweithio agos wedi bod yn y maes yma gyda gwaith cenedlaethol talk pedagogy sy'n cael ei redeg gan Lywodraeth Cymru, felly mae gan ni ddylanwad a chyfraniad at y rhaglen honno. A dyn ni hefyd wedi cynnig sawl sesiwn hyfforddiant sydd wedi bod yn llwyddiannus iawn a nifer y mynychwyr yn uchel iawn gyda siaradwyr, wel, hyfforddeon gwadd fel Mike Gershon. Na i symud ymlaen at llythrennedd yr rhifedd am hwn yn faes, mae cwpl o'n chi wedi cyfeirio ato bore yma'n barod. Ar hyn o bryd, neu dros y flwyddyn diwethaf, yn bennaf oll, mae'r gefnogaeth wedi bod ar sail cyfarfodydd rhwydwaith a cydweithio gyda swyddogion awdurdodau lleol. Mae yna rhywfaint o her yma o ran capacity fewnol o fewn partneriaeth a capacity yn yr awdurdodau lleol hefyd. Ond mae partneriaeth wedi, yn ogystal â cydlynu rhwydweithiau a cydweithio efo'r swyddogion yr awdurdodau lleol, mae swyddogion wedi bod yn ymateb i geisiadau am gefnogaeth bespoke ar sail angen, pryned i hynny yn sgil arolwg estyn neu ymweliad gan gynghorydd her neu beth bynnag sydd wedi bigo fyny bod yna wendid ac angen am gefnogaeth. Mae hwn yn faes dyn ni eisoes fel swyddogion wedi adnabod fel un sydd angen mwy o flaenoriaeth o rannu gwaith ni a fwy o gydblethu o fewn agweddau eraill o'r gwaith megis cyfarfodydd rhwydweithiau, meysydd dysgu a phrofiad a sut mae dod fewn ar elfennau'r sgiliau, llythrennedd rhifedd ac ati fewn i'r gwaith hynny. Felly mae yna waith yn mynd rhagddo i gryfhau'r gefnogaeth a felly gobeithio bydd mwy adrodd ar hynny yn y man. Na i symud y sydyn wedyn at ieithoedd modern tramor. Mae hwn yn faes i werth nodi lle mae yna rhywfaint o heriau wedi bod. Hynny yn benodol yn sgil sefyllfa capacity. Mi oedd ganddyn ni swyddog yn arwain ar y gwaith yma tan blwyddyn ôl i rwan, ond ers hynny does na ddim swyddog mewnol wedi bod mewn lle i arwain ar gwaith. O ganlyniad i hynny, dyn ni wedi gorfod edrych ar ddulliau amgen o gefnogi'r rhanbarth, ac felly dyn ni wedi darparu grantiau i'r clystyrau i gydweithio rhwng y cynradd a'r uwchradd. Dyn ni yn y broses o dreialu peilot ar gynnig trydydd iaith yn y cynradd. A dyn ni hefyd mewn trafodaethau efo ysgol benodol sydd wedi bod yn helpu i gydlynu pethau ar draws y flwyddyn. Mae hwn yn un agwedd o'r gwaith lle mae yna drafodaeth i'w chael. Mae'n agwedd pwysig o'n gwaith ni. Mae'n faes sydd angen y buddsoddiad amser ar egni na, ond mae angen y capacity hefyd. Felly mae hwn yn un agwedd lle mae angen iddyn ni edrych ar sut dyn ni yn sicrhau cynnig a chefnogaeth wrth symud ymlaen. Mae symud ymlaen wedyn at Gymraeg mewn addysg a siarter iaith. Mi oedd ganddyn ni sefyllfa capacity eitha heriol o ran y Gymraeg mewn addysg hefyd tan yn lle diweddar gan bod na ddim swydd benodol i arwain ar y Gymraeg mewn addysg yn dilyn yr ail strwythuro flwyddyn yn ôl. Mi ydyn ni ffodus iawn wedi llwyddo i benodi rhywun ar secondiad yn ôl ym mis Chwefror. Felly mae ganddyn ni rwan ymgynghorydd strategol ar gyfer y Gymraeg ers tymor. A dyn ni hefyd wedi llwyddo i benodi i swydd arall oedd yn wag ers blwyddyn, sef ymgynghorydd yn benodol ar gyfer cefnogi'r ail iaith. Yn bennaf yn yr uwchradd, ond yn amlwg fydd yn cydweithio hefyd gyda'r cynradd. Felly mae'r sefyllfa capacity oedd yn heriol yn ystod cyfnod yr cynllun busnes dwi'n adrodd arno rwan yn mynd i fod yn sefyllfa llawer cryfach erbyn hyn. Serch yr heriau capacity, mae yna lawer o waith wedi wneud y maes y Gymraeg mewn addysg, a dwi wedi bod yn rhan o gydlynu a cydweithio ar y gwaith hynny gyda swyddogion yn yr awdurdodau lleol. Mae yna berthynas dda o ran y cydweithio a trafod ein rhaglen dysgu proffesiynol a cynhyrchu adnoddau ac yn y blaen, ond mae yna hefyd waith trawsranbarthol lle mae yna gydweithio agos gyda'r rhanbarthau eraill a cynllun mewn lle ar gyfer sut dyn ni'n gallu cydweithio a rhannu dysgu proffesiynol ac adnoddau. Mae yna nifer helaeth o adnoddau wedi cael eu creu yn ystod y flwyddyn. Dyn ni hefyd wedi cynnal ymgyrch hyrwyddo addysg Gymraeg, wedi cyhoeddi fideos sy'n hyrwyddo addysg Gymraeg i rieni, a mae ganddyn ni gyfrif clwb ysgol yn benodol ar gyfer hyrwyddo addysg Gymraeg, adnoddau Cymraeg, dysgu proffesiynol drwy gyfrwng Gymraeg ac yn y blaen. Dyn ni hefyd wedi trosglwyddo grantiau i'r awdurdodau lleol ar gyfer y gwaith yma. Felly mae yna grantiau penodol wedi cael eu rhoi i'r 3 awdurdod lleol i gefnogi y Gymraeg mewn addysg, mwyn cefnogi gweithredu i'w cynllunio strategol y Gymraeg mewn addysg, a hefyd ar gyfer gweithredu y siarter iaith. Yn fyr iawn wedyn hefyd, cyn bod fi'n cloi, na gyfeirio at y gwaith o ran digidol, a rhamwaith cymwysedd digidol, lle mae yna raglen gadar mewn lle gyda nifer mynychwyr yn gyson, yn uchel ar adborth yn gadarnhaol, a mae'r rhaglen hynny'n cael i'w chynllunio a'i chynnig ar y cyd rhwng swyddogion partneriaeth a swyddogion yn yr awdurdodau lleol. Felly mae o'n gynnig, dyn ni'n gwybod sydd yn ateb y galw yn yr ysgolion, a mae'r adborth yn cadarnhau hynny. A wedyn o ran lefel A wedyn, mae yna rhaglenni penodol yn cael eu cynnig o ran cefnogaeth i arweinwyr o 0 ar 15, cyfarfodydd rhwydwaith, cynadleddau, a mae yna hefyd gydweithio trawsranbarthol ar elfennau gwahanol o ddysgu proffesiynol. Mae'r cynnig yna wedyn yn cael ei ddatblygu'n genedlaethol, ond ar gael wedyn yn lleol. Felly dyna yn gryno iawn gyflwyno'r hyn sydd yn yr adroddiad, a mae hwnna yn gryno iawn, achos mae yna gymaint o feysydd gwaith gwahanol o fewn Blaenoriaeth 2. O'n rhan ni wrth symud ymlaen, fel dwi'n dweud, mae fformat y cynllun busnes yn wahanol, felly pan fyddwn ni'n adrodd ar y gwaith yma'n y dyfodol, bydd yr adroddiadau yn ymddangos mewn ffurf wahanol, ond hefyd, wrth lunio'r adroddiad ar gyfer y flwyddyn a fi, dyn ni wedi bod yn adlewyrchu ar waith y flwyddyn. Mae'n edrych ar yr agweddau hynny, ar gwaith oedd yn llwyddiannus, yn nabod y bylchau hynny yn y ddarpariaeth felly, ac yn edrych ar yr adborth sydd yn dod gan y sawl sydd yn mynychu dysgu proffesiynol, a hefyd yn cael y trafodaethau hynny gyda ysgolion a gyda'r awdurdodau lleol. Mae'r elfen hynny o edrych ar effaith y cynnig yn waith sydd yn mynd rhagddo ac yn rhywbeth penodol dyn ni yn trio i'w gryfhau, a sicrhau bod ganddyn ni systemau cryfach mewn lle yn y dyfodol. Dyn ni yn dda iawn am dderbyn yr adborth a'r effaith uniongyrchol yn un syth ar ôl cynnig unrhyw fath o hyfforddiant, ond be dyn ni'n gweithio nhw sut dyn ni'n gallu mesu'r effaith yna, edrych ar yr effaith yn y tymor byr canolig a'r hir dymor, gan gydnabod hefyd mae un rhan o'r darlun ydy partneriaeth, felly yn amlwg mae yna partneriaeth a rhanddeiliad eraill yn rhan o'r gwaith o gefnogi ysgolion ac yn arwain at yr effaith hynny. A'r beth arall wedyn hefyd ydy pwysigrwydd rhannu arfer dda a sicrhau bod ganddyn ni astudiaethau achos ar gyfer rhannu arfer dda, felly mae hwnna hefyd yn darn o waith sy'n mynd rhagddo nid dim ond ar gyfer gwaith blaenoriaeth ddau yn amlwg ond ar draws y gwaith yn ei gyfanrwydd felly. Felly dyna'n nghrynodau fi ac yn amlwg yn hapus i drio ateb unrhyw gwestiynau. Diolch.
Great, fine. Thank you, Gwennon. And we've got one hand up already. That's Peter.
Thank you, Chair. I'm afraid I'm having my usual problem with acronyms. Thank you for saying what SLO stood for. What does NPEP stand for? And in terms of the 59 schools which are undertaking research and inquiry through NPEP, what exactly are they researching and inquiring into? Thanks.
That's a very good question. It's National Professional Inquiry Project is the acronym there. Apologies, we should have been clear on that. So that is essentially where the schools are doing their own pieces of research on a selected, usually a curriculum basis or on a well-being basis. So they've selected an area of research that is then allows them to work with university partners and partners within Partneriaeth to develop that inquiry model. So when the year's cycle is then wrapped up, all of these projects nationally are published on Hub on the platform there. So essentially, all schools across Wales can then see what has emerged from individual inquiry projects, whether it's on a particular area of learning or whether it's on a particular area of equity or well-being or whatever the selected areas that the schools are focused on. They would have written a brief for it and agreed it with ourselves and with our university partners and then published it. I think nationally, the thing we need to get better at is sharing what's going on for those schools who are non-MPEP schools and aren't currently involved in that research and inquiry bit. And again, I've had conversations in recent weeks with colleagues in Trinity St David about how we can encapsulate all this good work and make sure that we're bringing the profession along together as a profession of researchers moving forward. Hope that helps.
So when you say that the schools are carrying out these research projects, is this a professional development issue in terms of teachers carrying out this research as part of their own development? Or is this an issue where pupils are being involved in particular projects, which conclusions will be drawn from?
It could be a bit of both. It depends really on the nature of the inquiry. So if the inquiry is a specific classroom inquiry, for example, you would expect there that pupil evidence would emerge and there would be evidence of impact on the learner. It may be that it's something on a staff wellbeing level and it's a slightly different lens that bit of inquiry is a focus on. So the answer to the question is a bit of both really in terms of what that could look like. So it's professional learning for the inquirer in the school, for example, to undertake this, but the key thing is that there's learning for the entire school that comes out of it rather than just being a single member of staff benefiting from this. It should be a more systemic approach really where we're all benefiting from these projects that are going on, so we can see what benefits are coming from the research and inquiry piece, as long as we all understand the context. Not the same necessarily, but it's that understanding of what the original rationale was and what the output of the project is.
Is it possible you can send us some specific examples so I can better understand the sort of work undergoing?
Yeah, happy to do so.
I think that would be helpful. Maybe we could also understand then how these work by seeing those specific examples.
Yeah, absolutely. And depending on the work program for the committee, it may well be that you'd like to hear from some schools and them to explain what projects they've undertaken and what learning's happened from that particular context. It might be useful as a group to hear those particular messages.
I think that'd be very good, actually. Yeah. Okay. Just two more acronyms: RALD and WCLD.
Remote asynchronous learning design. You're testing me now, I think, in terms of that. So that was linked to work that originally started in COVID, you know, schools working together rather than in person to develop their understanding of curriculum design, essentially. And sorry, what was the other one?
WCLD.
Gwenan, can you help me out here? It's collaborative learning design of the last three, if that's helpful.
Okay, and you really use the word asynchronous. I love it. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, Gwenan, you got your
Ie,
hand up?
sori. Ie, o'n i jyst am nodi ar y pwynt cynta o ddysgu o'r gwaith sydd yn digwydd o ran MPEP. Mae'r digwyddiad yma sydd yn cael ei drefnu ar hyn o bryd i rannu ar o fewn yr rhanbarth fan lleia, lle fydd ysgolion yn cyflwyno i'w gwaith. Mae yna ddigwyddiad i wneud hynny benodol ganol mis Gorffennaf. Felly, ie, dwi'm yn siŵr, dwi'n tybio bydd yna wahoddiad i agored pe bai rhywun yn dymuno mynychu'r sesiwn, achos fel gynadledd ddathlu ydy ohono i fod, a hyd yn oed os na fydde rhywun yn mynychu'r sesiwn, bydde'r deunydd yna ar gael i'w rannu yn dilyn hynny pe bai unrhyw un â diddordeb.
I would love to come, but I'm going to be on holiday in the middle of July, unfortunately. So certainly a presentation will be very helpful, I think, for the committee.
Yeah, no problem. We'll share the link where the repository is of all the various projects that have been published to date, and you know, obviously depending on the work program of the committee, more than happy to get a school to talk to you about their actual experience of going through that inquiry process and some of the undoubted challenges they faced as well, particularly the learning of it.
If you could send us the details of the conference, though, because you know, Peter's on his holidays, but you know, we might be able to, you know, some of us might be able to go along depending when it is. So thank you very much. Great, and thank you, Gwenan, for that report. Any other questions from anyone? No. Right, we go on to the next item. So thank you very much. We now go on to the work programme. And the point that Ian made about some of the schools possibly, you know, actually coming along and reporting back what they're doing could be, you know, weaved into the programme at some point. I think would be quite good, because I often find in dedication scrutiny in Swansea, when we actually meet schools, you're actually at the chalk face and you're listening to what they have to say, and that's really important. You obviously learn quite a bit. Michelle has put the draft report together. Has anybody got any comments, first of all, about the report, about the programme? No. Shall we look to see if we can? We're speaking. Ian's got his hand up.
Sorry, Chair. Just an observation, really, in terms of looking at the October one. I think there's a curriculum update which is perfectly appropriate for you to receive that, and then the other one is leadership. It's only a point to note, really, that will be priority 4 in our new business plan. So it's just a slight shift in emphasis there, but it you know, the other than the number of the priorities, I think the programme reflects the areas that probably we haven't presented on as yet. So Crest has been for curriculum, and obviously Gwenan to present on priority 2.
Okay, right. We can make those amendments, and perhaps in consultation with yourself, Ian, Michelle can find out when we can sort of weave those schools in.
Yeah.
Into the programme, because I know that I'm pretty sure we'd all like to like to meet them and you know, and listen to their story. So if there aren't any other sort of issues, the draft can become the programme, with you know, nevertheless with the proviso to make those additions. So thank you all very much indeed. And the final item on the agenda is the letter that we send to the chair of the Partneriaeth Joint Committee. I know Michelle has been busy writing notes for all the points that have been raised. Are there any things that you personally would like to highlight? What we will do is to send a draft of the letter around to you all before we send it off to Darren. So are there any items that you would like to specifically put into the letter?
I think just some of the queries we've raised today would be helpful. I'm sure
Yeah.
Michelle's got written those down already.
I think she's been busy writing
Yeah.
all those down, yes. So thank you for that. And that brings us to the end of the meeting. So can I thank you all for attending? And the team from Partneriaeth and the directors of education across the area for their contributions. Thank you very much indeed. And see you all soon in some place or other. And have a good holiday, Peter.